Hey everybody, Cheryl here from Healthy Living Garden to Table, and tonight I have guests with me cooking. This is going to be a series that I'm promoting that is called What's for Dinner? So I have guests on with me that are going to cook, and we're going to go through how to make salmon patties tonight. And I've sent them a supply list and I sent them the ingredient list, and they went out and bought it, did a little prep, and I'll go through what that looked like. But on the line here, I have Leslie and I have Chris and I have Nancy. Thank you for joining me tonight. And we are all cooking in our very own kitchens, the same thing as I teach them how to make salmon patties. So if you've ever had salmon patties, or if you've ever had salmon, I really don't usually care for salmon very much because it usually tastes really fishy. So what I've learned is when you take salmon and you put it in water, and then put some salt. I put Himalayan salt, and you squeeze lemon in it, and you let it soak in that water for 24 to 48 hours. I pretty much wouldn't go much past 24 hours because then the lemon and the salt can start cooking it actually. But a little past is not going to hurt. And actually that takes out all the toxins. It takes off the slime and it takes out that fishy taste. Then you go ahead and then you rinse it off, and then you can go ahead and make your dish, and it actually tastes not fishy. So I'm loving this. And so what I had them do is I had them go to the store, and you go to your grocery store, fishmonger or whatever, and get a fillet of salmon. So we're using fresh salmon tonight, not canned. And the salmon, what I did is I told them to, when you go to your fishmonger, you see this big piece of fish, and you don't actually have to buy that big piece of fish. You can tell them specifically, I want a pound, and they will go ahead and cut a piece off of you closest to a pound as they can. So you're not buying that big piece because for one, you might not use it all, and for two, it can be costly. So I had them go ahead and buy a pound, and so then I had them soak it, and then the other ingredients are fresh dill. I feel like dill is like a perfume. Any kind of fresh herb, I just will smell it all day long. And then
It
some
smells so
lemon.
good.
It does. It does. Some lemon and garlic, because garlic. And then one egg. And then I had them, either you can get a jar of roasted red bell peppers, or you can roast them yourself. So if you're going to roast them yourself, all you need to do, Leslie got a jar. If you're going to roast them yourself, all you need to do is get your red bell pepper, seed it and top it, slice it in half, put a little olive oil in it, and just put it in the oven and roast it for I did mine about 40 minutes because I did several, because we use roasted red peppers here on a lot of different things. So I use it a lot. So that's it. And then we also have Old Bay, because in a seafood dish, Old Bay seasoning is amazing. And the other thing had them get is some quinoa flakes. Now, quinoa flakes, not every grocer will have it. I think Nancy bought it on Amazon. And so the flakes I take are in place of, like, if you want to do oatmeal, some people do oatmeal, and that's good. What'd you get there, Leslie? I can't see it.
It's gluten-free breadcrumbs. It's the best I could get.
Okay, there
in
you
our
go.
local market.
And that's totally fine. I know that Chris does gluten-free, and I know Leslie does gluten-free. I do. So if you do gluten-free, the quinoa flakes are really good. If you can't find them, again, like I said, you can do Amazon, or like Leslie did, you can do breadcrumbs that are gluten-free as well. So, okay, let's get into this. So what you're going to do is you're going to take your salmon, and I just want to mention too is, if it's just you, I know Chris and Nancy, it's just them at home. And so Chris decided to get a little less than a pound. You can totally do that. Or Nancy decided to do the whole pound, and she's going to freeze some of the salmon patties afterwards. So after you take the salmon out of the water, you're going to want to rinse it. And what we've already done is we put it on a piece of paper towel to get it kind of dried out, because you really don't want it to be soggy wet, because your whole entire patty will be soggy and it'll be really hard to you'll add more and more breadcrumbs and it won't taste as well. So then if you have skin on the back, you want to make sure you take that off. Okay. Does anybody have skin on theirs?
I do. I have skin. I'll cut it off.
You needed to take that off. And then I don't, so I'm going to just cut mine into even though I'm throwing it in the food processor, I'm gonna cut mine into some cubes, because what you really want to make sure you're doing is you don't want to over process it. So it'll become mush if you do that. So you only want to pulse it a couple times once you throw it into your processor. So what I love is, if you watched my channel before, you know that I love the plop and drop. So I like to just have things cut up real quick and drop it into a food processor, quickly make it. It's, you know, the easy peasy is what I love. So go ahead and skin that. And then I'll go over the ingredients as well, some more. So if you're going to use less than a pound of salmon, you want to make sure that you're adding your quinoa flakes or your breadcrumbs. You want to add just a little bit less, because just remember that we can always add more, but taking out it we cannot do. So we're going to do this step-by-step process. I'm going to go ahead and put this into my food processor, and I'm going to pulse it a couple times.
You're putting the salmon in the food processor?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
And then I'm just going to pulse it like really quickly, and I'm not going to do it for very long at all. So you want it to look like more like ground beef when you do it in the food processor. That's good. During this step anyway. And I'll be right back. I got to get a bowl.
So I have a Vitamix, but not a food processor. Can I use a Vitamix?
Well, your Vitamix might, you can try, but try not to make it a paste. See, and that's what I would be cautious of if using a Vitamix as opposed to a food processor. If you don't have a food processor, the only thing I could tell you do is you could chop it up really fine, but like I said, try to put it in your Vitamix. Do you have like a NutriBullet or anything like that?
I don't. All I have is
Okay.
a Vitamix.
All right, well, throw it in there and just pulse it a couple times, and hopefully, and just don't over process it. And then you're gonna want to put it in a bowl and do the rest of it in a bowl.
Okay.
Because I don't want you to, like I said, I don't want it to be pate.
Yep,
I have a
right.
Ninja.
Okay.
That's all I have too right now. So I'm trying a Ninja.
Okay.
That's what you have too, Nancy?
Yeah, my food processor died, so I have to.
Oh, okay.
Mhm.
How you doing there, Chris?
So we can pulse it.
Yep.
In chunks. Is that good? Like little chunks?
Yep, let me show you. It'll be like this. Can you see that?
Looks a
Okay.
little more whipped. Okay.
Did you put anything else in there with it, or just the?
Not yet. Nope. I just quickly pulsed it so that it gets, like I said, it'll look like ground hamburger. So it's not going to be too, not ground up completely, because you're adding more things in this, and you're going to keep on turning it on. And I don't want it to get, like I said, you don't want salmon pate.
Mm-hmm.
So if you're doing it in a Vitamix, Leslie, maybe do it in batches.
Yeah, I think I'll do it in batches. Good idea. Good idea, Chef Cheryl.
Nancy, you got yours done?
Yeah, I don't want to do it too much. So it looks like it's good.
Okay. There you go, Leslie. That looks good. That's enough.
Yeah, I think that worked really well, actually.
Okay, Chris, you
It
done?
looks a lot like yours.
Oh, good.
I'm almost there. I'm just.
Okay, I want to wait for you. Okay, so if you guys want to get the, you just want to crack your egg inside that?
Okay, I have to admit that I have really never put anything other than like fruits and veggies and milk and like spinach. Like I've only made smoothies. So this is like, I'm like, you're putting food in there? What's that?
Whole new world. It's all good. So I went ahead and put my eggs in there, and I'm also gonna put my my bell peppers in there. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna just chop them roughly before I put them in there, though, because like I said, I really don't want to over process this. So just a rough chop. You don't have to make mincemeat out of it. Chop and drop.
How many roasted red peppers? Just one whole one?
Yeah, well, how much fish do you have, Leslie? Was it a pound?
About a half a pound.
Okay, so yeah, you're gonna use like one of the things that come out.
So like this size?
Oh no, mine were usually bigger. No more than that.
Okay, maybe like 3 of those.
Yeah.
Okay, that seems reasonable.
Okay.
Thank you, Chef Cheryl.
You are welcome, ma'am.
So finally chop it just a little bit so that we don't have to overblend, right?
Right, and then you're gonna chop up, and then you're gonna put your clove of garlic in there. Now,
That-
garlic is, yeah, that's good. Garlic is totally optional. I love garlic in everything, so
Yeah, so do I.
I believe garlic
Love
should go
garlic.
in almost everything. Hold on one second, I need a teaspoon.
About how much garlic per pound?
I used a clove.
I have mine already minced. buy it
A
that
teaspoon,
way.
probably a good teaspoon.
A good teaspoon, okay.
Yeah. And then I'm gonna put a teaspoon of the Old Bay in it. If you're using a half of a pound, I would suggest you only do a half a teaspoon of the Old Bay.
Okay. I'm eyeballing.
Okay, I'm an eyeballer. I'm good with that. And then and then put some salt in there. And with the salt, because of the fact that we already bathed it in salt, you don't need a whole lot. And then pepper would be about a half a teaspoon.
How much salt
A couple shakes.
or a pinch?
Yep. And then and then some pepper, about a half a teaspoon of pepper.
I love pepper too. Pepper and garlic.
Yeah.
So seeing that
I like that
did
you're
like
doing.
a
go ahead.
half a pound, since I did a half a pound salmon,
Mm-hmm.
that worked for me with the egg.
What?
How does that work for me with the egg? Because I did a pound of salmon or a half a pound of salmon.
It'll be fine because that's more of a binder, so it'll be fine with, because you're gonna put the quinoa flakes in.
Okay.
If it was any less than half a pound, then I still think it would be fine.
Do you
Okay.
approve of this salt?
What is that?
It's
Yeah.
Himalayan.
Yep.
Okay.
Definitely. Okay, so now we're gonna pulse this, guys. And I do watch real quick. I'm gonna do because I really don't want to overblend that. So I just want it to mix in there. Again, I'm doing it where it's gonna look like it's gonna stay looking like hamburger. Okay.
Uh-huh. It smells delicious.
Okay. Now, my little thing came out, guys. Hold on. Okay, so now you're gonna put in your quinoa flakes. You're gonna use if you have a pound of fish, you're gonna use a cup. If you have half a pound, you're gonna use half a cup.
Okay.
Now, I say that sparingly, but I would feel like if you have a half a pound of fish, start with a quarter cup. Don't go with a whole half. Because like I said, you can add some, but you can't take it away.
So for a full pound, how much again?
You can use a cup.
Okay.
And then we're gonna put some dill in with this now.
Ooh, dill. How much dill for a pound?
Okay, so I just a little disclaimer here. I'm not a measurer, so again, I'm gonna say this through the whole thing. You can add, but you can't take away. If you like, yeah, Leslie, that looks That looks pretty good. If you like dill, you're gonna add dill. If you like, you're not sure, add just a little bit. I like dill, so I'm gonna add a lot.
Yeah.
A lot to me is gonna be almost, let me see my measurer here. So this is gonna be mine. I have 1.5 pounds of meat.
Oh, okay.
So it's a palm full because I love dill.
For me, I did get organic oatmeal.
Okay.
So I went to Fresh Time, and that's where I got the salmon, and I have bulk stuff. So I got like,
Uh-huh.
but I didn't have to get a lot of oatmeal. You can obviously, it's those pour things or whatever. So,
Okay.
nice way if you just want to try something, you don't have to get a lot of it.
Yeah. And like I said, this is so versatile. The quinoa flakes were, something that I love. And if you ever get a chance, do it because they are good. And actually, even the package says that you can use it as cereal. You can use it as breading for other things as well for the outside. So then you're just going to pulse it. Now here, actually, don't pulse it. I'm sorry. Back it up. Dump it into a bowl. At this point. Sorry, I was a little ahead of myself. I'm going to dump it in a bowl and mix it with a spoon because I don't want to overmix it.
Yeah. Especially since we don't have food processors.
Well, I do, and I'm still using the bowl.
Oh, do you? Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. I got
Because
you.
I don't want to overmix it.
Smells good. It doesn't smell fishy whatsoever.
Good. We are doing it right.
My husband was like, "Ooh, salmon." I'm like, "Yeah, I don't think you're gonna not like it. I think you're gonna like it." He's like, "Well,
Yeah.
okay."
Yeah. Yeah.
I know a lot of guys who are like a steak and potato kind of guy, and not so much a seafood kind of guy.
Yeah. My husband loves fish. Actually, he goes fishing a lot. So did anybody get like onion, remember I had on the list onion
Onion
dehydrated or dehydrated onion?
Yeah.
Either or, you're gonna throw it in right now. So
Okay.
I would say about a teaspoon. I like dehydrated onion, so that's what I got. Because I don't like to bite into onion. And so with 1/2 pound, I would do a teaspoon, and then Nancy, with your full pound, you can go ahead and do 2 teaspoons or a tablespoon.
When I was
Okay.
growing up, we had salmon patties probably once a month. My mom would make them,
Uh-huh.
and she would just get salmon from a can,
Yep.
and we did lots of minced onion in it. And
Really? Okay.
I grew up with salmon patties, and I was ecstatic when you said you were making them.
Yeah, you were
Because
like,
it's part of
I'm in.
my history.
You're like, I'm in. I'm like, oh, cool.
Yeah.
No, I did not grow up with seafood. So, it was a lot of like sauteed hamburger and Spam when I was growing up.
Okay.
So everything like this is just like a food adventure for me. I love salmon, but I don't usually get brave at my house. I usually just eat it at the restaurant. So I'm like, I wanted to be more adventurous. I want to be
Yeah.
able to cook more healthy stuff that I like.
Yeah.
So I was like, let me try this. Let me do this.
Yeah, so we'll eat off of because I got 1.5 pounds. I went to Trader Joe's and they had this just a package, and that's how I got it. I didn't end up going up to the market, and because they had such a great deal on it, and it's 1.5 pounds, and I thought, well, here's lunch and dinners, so this is what it's going to look like. Okay, so it's going to be a really, really thick. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
And then you're just going to start making hamburger balls. Okay,
I have a question.
Yep.
Lemon juice. You mentioned in our list lemon juice.
Yes.
That was for like to put the fish in with the water to make it less stinky.
Yes. You can put lemon juice in it right now as well if you want to.
Yeah, because you said 2 lemons and one we used for the soaking.
Yes. Sorry.
Cheryl, did we put garlic powder and Old Bay in yet?
Oh, yeah.
Okay. Teaspoon?
Yep.
So Cheryl, should we, because I know we're using the cast iron pan, so should we be preheating the oven?
Yes, you can preheat the cast iron pan right now with no oil in it. Good
Okay.
catch.
We can put that
that
in the
right now.
oven right now?
You can
What's-
preheat your, you can, okay, so that's what I was gonna say too. So. All right, preheat your oven, turn your pan on, and don't put oil in it. You wanna put it on medium to low. Okay, so you
Okay.
want this, you want it to heat up before you put the oil in, because then the oil is just gonna spatter and it's gonna burn. And so you want that, you want the, you always wanna put cold oil into a hot pan. So yeah, I did put some lemon juice in here too, Leslie. The other
Sorry,
part of the lemon, I'm gonna make an aioli with. Nancy, what did you say?
how much Old Bay again? I missed that stuff.
That's all right. You can put in, you got a pound, probably 2 teaspoons.
Okay.
So what are we preheating the oven to?
375.
Okay, thank you.
So I did want to say, so since Nancy is going to be using some of these to freeze,
Mm-hmm.
you only want to bake, we're going to put these in the pan and sear them on both sides, okay? And then for about 5 to 10 minutes in the oven, and I say 5 to 10 because it depends on how big you make the balls. You're going to put it in the oven to cook the rest of the way inside. But Nancy, whatever you're going to eat tonight or tomorrow, you're going to put in the oven, and then whatever you're going to put in the freezer, you only pan fry, and then you can make sure you finish cooking them once you dethaw them. Okay?
Okay.
Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So I'm pretty much you know, simple on, you know, knowing all the terms to do stuff in the kitchen. So what is searing?
When you just go like this, like you're just putting a brown caramelization mark on it.
Okay, so it's not like cooking for any length of time in the pan based on, you know, then it's going in the oven.
Yes.
All right. Thank
You're
you.
gonna.
15
You're welcome.
to
You're gonna.
20
It was a good
seconds.
question. It was a really good question, Chris. So
How
I
many are
got.
making your patties?
I was just gonna tell you. I got 5 out of mine. Out of a pound, you should actually get 4. And then you're gonna get the ball. I always make them balls first, and then so that they're kind of even.
Oh, yeah.
And then you go ahead and flatten them. And then before you flatten them, though, put some. You're gonna want to put obviously oil in your pan, and then flatten them and put them right into the pan. I'm gonna go wash my hands.
Gotta use gloves. Oh my gosh, this smells so good. I can hardly stand it. The lemon, the garlic, the onion.
I know. Okay.
Oh, this doesn't smell like seafood. This smells like a steak restaurant or something.
Yeah, you're right. It does.
Okay, so I'm just
Smells
gonna
so good.
put a little oil in this pan, and you want to make sure we're not deep frying this, ladies. We are just coating the bottom of this pan, and then I usually just take like a towel, like a paper towel or wet paper towel, and just kind of like swish it around so that you're covering the whole entire pan. And
Yeah.
so that you're not deep frying it, because we don't want to deep fry it. We just want to sear it. Okay, so that's hot, and I'm going to start in my pan here. And I just kind of like go like this. So I flatten it here, and then I put it like this. I flatten it just so that it stays round and it just doesn't spread out like that. Does that make sense?
Yep. Here's my patty.
Making a good patty.
It's a good patty.
And you want to make sure it's flat enough where if you don't have enough room in your pan, just do two batches, because you want enough where it's flat enough where it doesn't, you don't always have to put it in the oven if it cooks all the way through, but I always will do it at least 5 minutes. Now I only fit 3 in my pan because mine are kind of bigger,
Okay.
which is fine. And so I'll do 3 and I'll do these other 2 later. How you guys doing?
My pan isn't hot quite yet.
Okay,
I'm gonna
You have
turn
it
the
up high?
heat up a little bit.
okay, good.
I'm gonna be using stainless. I don't know how
Okay.
to.
You still do it the same way, Nancy. You still put the heat on there,
I did.
and then once it's hot, then you put the oil in. You always make sure you put cold oil into a hot pan.
Okay.
How you doing it over there, Chris?
Good, I'm just waiting, because I'm waiting for the cast iron to heat up a little bit.
Okay.
So how did you come upon this recipe, Miss Cheryl? Was it trial and error or how'd you
It
do that?
was. Yeah, it was. I looked at a lot of other people's recipes, and what I used to do is I used to make fish, like cod or tuna and things like that. And that's how I learned the soaking method. Actually, my husband had taught me the soaking method of getting that fish taste out of it. And he used to go fishing, and we used to have salmon, and I didn't care for salmon, but I know that fat content in salmon is a lot better for you than any of the other fishes, and I wanted to like it. I used to do salmon patties with canned tuna or salmon rather, and trying to stay away from canned everything right now. And so when my husband and I were in Florida one time, actually on our honeymoon years ago, this lady taught me how to make salmon patties from canned salmon. And I just remember that I liked it enough. And I thought, well, maybe if I do the salmon with taking out the garbage out of it and reinventing it, I'd like it. Well, then I'm doing more gluten-free. So I'm like, okay, what can I use as a binder? And then I love fresh dill and everything. And then Old Bay is a seasoning that you put in seafood. So I just kind of like played with, I looked at other people's recipes and I'm like, yes, no. Okay, the constant was an egg. The constant was a binder. Usually it was oatmeal, and I didn't want to do oatmeal. So when I found the quinoa flakes, I'm like, that'll do it. So I thought, I see a lot of people do, like I do a black bean burger that has quinoa as a binder. I have a mushroom vegan burger that is amazing. It calls for walnuts and a lot of portobello mushrooms and onions, and it's just yummy. And so I thought, let me try doing it with quinoa flakes. And I had roasted red peppers in the house, and I'm like, that'll add some good flavor. I had it in actually a jar. And yeah, so I just kind of like, and of course garlic goes in everything. So
To the soaking of the fish, my friend is starting to get into fishing, and I mentioned this to her, and she thought, oh, is this a good way? Because she doesn't know what the lakes are like and where she's going to be fishing. Like, it can help quite a bit. She can do any fish that way.
Absolutely. All fish you should do that way. And again, like I said, make sure, I don't even know if I mentioned this, so I'm going to make mention of it because it's really important. When you are soaking fish, you want to make sure it's not in a metal bowl, because between the lemon juice and the salt, it'll have a reaction. So it gives a leaching reaction. So you don't want to have that toxicity get into your fish when you're trying to get toxins out of your fish. So you want to make sure you have, like I had a glass bowl. So you want to make sure it's that. And then two, you don't want plastic because that salmon's going to just smell that bowl up. Leslie, let me see. What do you got?
I got nicely seared patties.
You did both sides already?
I did.
Oh my goodness. Okay, I haven't even flipped mine. Anybody else? Did anybody else?
My
flip
pan
theirs
was-
yet?
I haven't flipped it yet, so.
All right.
My pan was hot,
flipping
hot,
mine.
hot.
Okay. Leslie, go ahead and throw it. You can go ahead and throw it in your oven if you got it going.
Yeah, I got the oven going.
Wow, that looks so amazing. I'm so excited.
It's
So,
cooking.
Cheryl, you did with this with salmon. Can you do this with another kind of fish?
Yeah, absolutely. I bet you tuna would be amazing with this. Cod would probably be really, I would say any kind of fish would be good. Absolutely. The other thing is when I wanted to ask you, how did you guys feel like did it bind together enough with the measurements that I gave you for half of a pound?
Yes, so I added a few more breadcrumbs than you, because I was kind of just testing it out, but it was a little bit more. So I would say it was probably 3/4 cup.
Okay. Chris?
I think because I used a 1/4 cup of the oatmeal. And it seems to be like, I'm looking at it and I think it looks fine to me right now.
It's holding together?
Yeah, so I think that maybe one thing that, I think you said it, but I don't think I did it, and I will do it next time, is I didn't cut up my red bell pepper before I put it in the food processor. So I think that it's just not small enough, and it's kind of forcing it to be different. Like it would be a different shape and stuff if it was smaller, if their red bell pepper was smaller.
Okay.
So that's like a process for me to learn. Like I'm like, oh, I gotta make that smaller next time.
So another thing that would be, Chris, if you wanna, that's my thing, just hold on. Another thing that you might want to think about doing is you could process the fish, take it out of the processor, put the bell peppers in, process it, and then keep on just dumping everything into a bowl and then mixing it so that you're not worried about being over processed.
Okay.
Oh, that's a good idea.
Yeah.
So like, let it be like one of the last things that you put in there.
Yes. So the next thing I'm going to show you guys, I don't know if I sent you on the list, but I feel like I talked to you guys about it, is a tartar sauce. Now, who would use like a tartar sauce compared to a avocado aioli?
I would use both, but
Okay.
I think typically avocado, just because I'm trying to get more omega-3s.
Just because avocado, right?
Yeah.
So
I'm sorry, I just put that pan in the oven. So how long do I put it in there for?
in the oven,
Yeah.
how thick were they? Were they as thick as mine or were they thinner?
I guess they're not thick. They're not very thick.
About 5 minutes. Okay, I'm gonna throw mine in here too.
So like the sauces, so I did not get the ingredients for that because it's just a thing about me. I'm trying to like not do sauces right now, but
Okay.
I like the ones that you just mentioned. I thought those both sound really good because I love avocado, and the other one sounded good too. So
Okay.
because I
And
think
you
the avocado
mentioned-
one actually sounds more appealing to me, but the other one.
Okay.
You mentioned avocado mayonnaise. That's what we use here too. Well, it's what I use and my sister uses.
Okay. Well, this isn't aioli. It's pretty much kind of like, yeah, it's a mayo. But what I do is, when I make an aioli, I started this in the summer when I had an abundance of basil. So I just looked up basil recipes, and one of the girls had an aioli, and of course I changed it the way I like it because that's what I do. And I thought, you know what, that would be really great as a dill aioli. So what I did is I put about, it looks like about a cup. I had leftover avocados that were going bad, so I froze them. And so I just de-thawed them, and I just put a half a lemon in just now. And then I'm going to take some dill. And again, if you're a dill lover, you're going to put a lot of dill. If you're like, okay, I like it, okay, you're going to put just some. And I'm going to chop this a little finer than this because I'm processing it. I'm not chopping it. Okay, if that makes sense. You really want to make sure that this is fine when you're chopping it. And I always like to put it in a bunch and then kind of cigar it, roll it together, and then chop it. So it's like that. So I'm going to put that in. I probably won't put it all in because it looked like a lot even to me. And then I'm going to put a little bit of Old Bay because I want to echo what we have in the salmon patties in here. So I'm just going to I'm going to put just a little in here. And then a little salt. And then I'm going to whiz this up, and then I'm going to put some olive oil in there like you would doing a mayonnaise. So. And of course I forgot garlic.
Good. Of
Garlic.
course. We love garlic.
I love garlic. Okay. And then I don't remember if I put salt, so I'm just going to put a little in there.
So you could do this with any spice, right? So if you didn't want to put dill, as long as whatever you put in your, like, you know, like, all I can think of is when you did your cauliflower rice, obviously you're not going to do aioli with that, but you put rosemary in it, you know, or whatever.
Yeah.
Like you can do the same thing, whatever spice you want.
Yep. olive oil. Now, when I say a little bit, think like, I know that how Chris thinks she likes to have measurements, and think about probably about a quarter of a cup. I know. I'm gonna think it's gonna be about a quarter of a cup, but I'm just gonna drizzle it in here. I know Leslie's analytical too, so it's not just you, Chris.
I like measurements most times, but with cooking, I think you have to eyeball it.
Yeah, I
Yeah,
think so too. Plus, it's more to taste
Yeah.
of like, yeah. Go ahead.
sorry, this is my most noisy food processor. It's a mini KitchenAid, but it's my favorite. It's so stinking old, but it is my
You like
favorite.
the KitchenAid? I'm thinking about getting one, especially watching you doing all this.
Look, this is the little one. The big one was not a KitchenAid, but this little one is. And so it looks like a thick mayonnaise. So that's what
Yeah.
I will probably put. That's what I'll put on mine. So the other thing that you can make is you can make, if you're going to make a relish, again, I don't like buying tartar sauce from the store. I like to make, because then it's going to have a bunch of stuff that you don't need in it.
Yeah.
So you're going to use whatever kind of mayonnaise you have. They have some pretty good mayonnaise. Leslie, you mentioned you use an avocado mayonnaise.
I do.
And then you want to go on my YouTube channel and get my dill pickle recipe. And so, kidding. So then you chop up some dill pickles and you put it in your mayonnaise, and then you can put a little dill in there because it'll echo what you did in the salmon patties. Salt, pepper, and just mix that up really good, and it'll be a really great tartar sauce.
Oh my
Ooh,
God,
that sounds amazing. What a good idea.
Yeah. So that's it, ladies. Does anybody have any done that they can taste, or are you guys not there yet? Because I want to honor your time.
I mean, mine just dinged, so they're just ready to pull out of the oven right now.
All righty. How you doing, Nance?
How long in the
That's
oven? Mine are thick.
You're okay. Mine are in the oven because I put it in later than everybody else. So good.
Mine
Does anybody else have any questions?
Mine was sticking a little bit to my stainless. They're kind of falling apart. I was having a hard time with it a little.
Okay, you might want to put a little more oil than you did in it.
I did put a little more. So hopefully.
Yeah.
Um,
Let me taste this.
I don't know if you guys, let me see if I can hold this up so you can see it.
That's good.
Can you see?
Oh, those look good.
Oh, those look really good.
Let me not
Good
drop
job,
oil
Chris.
on my laptop computer.
Okay, tasting this this aioli, I'm gonna put a little more olive oil in it, and I think I'm gonna put a little more lemon juice in it because it's not the flavor I want. And you know, you guys, I don't know what kind of olive oil you use, but I am a Costco fan. Love their olive oil. It really tastes like olives as opposed to anything else you get off the shelf, and I can trust the fact that they do put olives in there as it tastes like olives compared to the things that you get off the shelf in the grocery store. The price point is amazing on this. And so I always, like I said, I'm a real fan of Costco and their olive oils.
Can you hold it up to the web camera a little bit, Cheryl?
Yeah. How's that?
Okay. What is it? Extra virgin olive oil.
Yep.
All right.
Is this the same?
Yep, I got that too. That's my cooking oil. I use this for cooking and the other one for salads or for like aioli flavored. Yep. So either if I use the plastic bottle one like you had, Nancy, that's what I put in my pan for frying. And then this other one is just it's a little depth of flavor. It's a glass bottle. They're both the same price, but it has a real olivey taste to it. What you got there? You got
I got avocado oil because I learned that high heat requires a different oil for smoke point, a lower smoke point.
Mhm.
Or
and
is it a
that's,
higher
you
smoke
got it
point?
at Costco?
Yeah, I got this one. Actually, I'm not sure where I got this one,
I
but
think Costco
avocado
has that
oil,
one.
coconut oil that's refined, I use for high heat.
Okay. Okay, so who's tasting theirs?
Hey, I tasted mine. It's amazing.
Yes, yes.
Oh my gosh, it doesn't taste like fish at all. I can't wait for my husband to try it.
You said
I
no,
told him
remind me.
just one bite, just one bite.
He's not a fish eater, huh?
No,
I love
he's
it.
extremely skeptical of anything that's fish because he's just never had anything that he's liked. So I should have him come try it on camera.
He's gonna try it. Yeah.
Let me see if he
Okay, guys. is anybody else ready for theirs? Mine's gonna come out in a minute. Mine's about to come out. Chris, that looks like a TV show. It looks like you're on Food TV. Look at you. Whoop, whoop.
I'm so excited. Thank you for this idea. It's a wonderful, wonderful, wonderful idea. Thank you.
All right, taste it. Let me see what you got. Like, let me see what you got.
Mm.
Yeah?
That's so good.
Yeah? You're a good cook.
I mean,
You're a
so
good
you're
cook.
right about that. I think that I did not need to like put it in the oven as long as I did.
Okay.
Because it's, I don't know, to me it's a little dry.
Okay.
So that could be anything because I did all the things. But I did put a whole egg in there and it's still, I mean, maybe a little less of the binder, you think?
Okay, yeah, yeah. No, I feel like, no, I don't think less of the binder. I feel like, because you didn't put a whole lot, I feel like, just like you said, less oven time, because if it's flat enough, you don't need to put it really in the oven very long at all. If it's flat enough, you really don't need oven time. I just want to make sure that like it's cooked enough, because when you have the moistness will come from also, Leslie, when you asked how I got the red bell peppers in there, that's where the moistness comes as well, is from that. Now, the other thing that you can do that'll make this really, really moist is if you put, like take a regular onion and put it in a box grater and just like really like pulverize it and put it in there so you're not biting into that onion. That'll give it a really big moisture too. So you don't want to put a whole lot of onion in it. But so Leslie, you're eating yours?
It's so amazing.
Yeah.
Yay,
The
Nancy.
best salmon patty I've ever had.
You guys are such good cooks. You
Bless
guys are
my
such
mom's
good
heart.
cooks.
We'll see.
It's totally like, I mean, this is like restaurant quality stuff, you know?
Yeah.
Ah, you guys are such good. Look at Nancy. What'd you put on top?
I just put some mayo together with some Uncle Frank's, a shallot, and some dill pickle and some dill.
Woo! Look at you, girl.
Ooh.
All right, try it. Let me go get my plate.
Mm.
Such a good idea.
Mm.
I'm wishing, Nancy, now I'm wishing that I got more salmon.
Yeah. You'll have to go back tomorrow, Chris.
I was being pretty conservative because to be honest, I was like, I don't want to mess this up and have a lot of something I don't like.
No,
Yeah.
right. All right, let me try this there.
Well, now you know.
Now that I know. So I gotta admit, I was struggling with getting the skin off of the salmon.
Okay.
Because I've never done it before. So do you have any tips of like, obviously it's like, you gotta have the right knife for the job, right?
Mhm,
So
mhm.
maybe my knives aren't sharp enough or something.
Yeah, definitely need I think that's just totally it right there, Chris, is having a sharp enough knife. When you're gonna go into it, you go into it like this. Here's the skin. You're gonna go really close to it, and then you're gonna go do it like a little slit here, and then you're gonna pull.
Oh,
So it's like peeling an onion. It should peel like that, just putting a little bit of your sharp knife, and then if not, go like this. So you're gonna keep on slicing like that, pull it a little bit, keep on slicing a little bit, pull.
yeah.
It's definitely something that you'll get used to. It's not something that, if you've never done it before.
Yeah, I haven't. But
Well, I'm glad that you guys like this recipe. Thank you so much for joining me. If anybody else please make sure that if you're watching this and you like what we've done, subscribe to the channel. This is so fun. I'm going to do What's for Dinner tonight with salmon patties with Leslie, Nancy, and Chris. Thank you for being my guests, and I appreciate you cooking with me tonight. Have a great night and see you in the next video.